Good morning, Keith. Thank you for joining us today on Business Spotlight Series.
Good morning, Javier, and thank you very much for inviting me along.
Great. Well, today we have Keith Harvey, CEO of UGP Energy Limited. The UGP, they innovative renewable energy, reducing waste, and are driven to find innovative new products that can help deliver improved environmental results and productivity. Also, Keith is a cardiac arrest survivor. I would love to hear more about that.
Yeah.
So, yes, Keith, can you tell us a little bit more about what you do and how long you've been doing it for?
Yeah, so UGP Energy, whilst it's only been formed for 2 years, it's been around 7 years in the making. We were driven to find environmental and carbon footprint reducing solutions that are sustainable. And post-COVID, as we've all experienced, was something we hope not to experience again. And that has driven things differently on the back of the the COVID pandemic.
Yes. Was this something you always had in the back of your mind to get into this industry? How long has it been?
No, it's I was born and brought up in agriculture, so there's a bit of agriculture in UGP Energy. But when I was growing up, probably a veterinarian, and along the anything agriculture was what I aspired to be, but shot off in several different directions since then.
Yes. Okay. And running this business, what's been your biggest learning so far in the journey?
Whilst there's a desire to do the right thing from all quarters, it tends to be whether it's related to cost or whether it's related to outputs or just simply timing. Whilst a lot of people say they want to do the right thing, not everyone actually goes ahead and does it. That's probably the biggest learning over 30 years of various different businesses, not just this one.
Yes. And how can your business help people in your mission?
Well, our mission is to create sustainable, renewable energy solutions that are a carbon and environmental footprint reduction. Obviously, the Mother Earth's crying out to us for various degrees. Unfortunately, global warming in Scotland seems to mean more rain and not as much heat. When you see the news across the world, it's a bit of an eye-opener there. We need to do something, and the time for talking is over, and we need action, and we need action now. In fact, we need action yesterday.
Yes. Okay. And who are the businesses or people you target to provide your services?
Well, UGP's a modular system that can be expanded, can be exported to different countries and different areas. We're currently in discussions with a couple of countries. I have supported a orphanage charity, both business-wise and personally in the past, and driving to assist the country of Malawi's one of the things that we can do, but we need things to kick off elsewhere to be able to really do that, to have the finance behind us to do it, and really make a difference out there. Education, employment, and supporting the local economy, and most specifically the orphanage that we've supported in the past.
Oh, wonderful! Great to hear that. So, Keith, what are your aspirations for the business for the next 5 years?
We've got a really aggressive growth strategy. A lot of that depends on support from the different countries that we want to work in. But my hashtag since 2016, when I was brought over the first probiotic cleaning product to the UK, has been a hashtag Be the Difference. And that's what we want to do, socially, economically, and in every aspect. We want to do things differently. And the aggressive growth strategy to deliver the promise that this business has is probably the greatest aspiration, to see it come to fruition.
Yeah, wonderful. Have you found problems like most businesses in most industries to recruit people?
No, we've got the biggest problem we've had is funding at the moment, is to get the funding. We've got lots of different areas in a couple of countries that we're working in where everyone buys into the renewable energy solution, supporting agriculture, supporting downstream manufacturing, supporting construction with our output products. So everybody's on board with it, but getting the first person to blink and actually step up with the required finance is the biggest issue we've hit so far. Not that we've got issues with people saying they want to do and support the business, but just getting it across the line, the final hurdle of actually getting the finance in place to make the project happen has been probably the most enjoyable and the most challenging part of the business.
Yes, yes. No, I can imagine. So besides the funding part, what other challenges do you find in the industry?
There's smaller challenges, but none of them are insurmountable. It's part and parcel of what I enjoy the most is negotiating and discussion and getting people on board with what our why is, and everybody. And the timing's now right for this business and this project proposal, because everyone's aware that they just need to look at the news every night. Flooding in China, multiple deaths, 50+ degrees in some states in the US. Just globally, there's issues all over. The wildfires out in Spain and Greece. So the funding aspect is the biggest challenge. There are other ones, but they're being overcome day by day.
Yeah, okay. And what would you say to anyone thinking of going into business for the first time?
Hard work. Be prepared. Business and bringing in finance and investment, it doesn't stop, it doesn't sleep. You've got to continue. Be prepared for long hours. Be prepared to have your vacations interrupted because you have to take meetings that are the difference potentially between your business being successful and getting off the ground and not. It's not for everyone, I don't think. But everyone with the right mindset could be successful in business and could have a good business. But work ethic's the biggest thing, I would say. You've got to be prepared to work at it, because quite simply, if it was easy, everyone would be doing it.
Yeah, definitely. And you touched upon mindset. What could you say to, say even existing business owners who are, working hard to grow their business? Anything tips you can give on mindset?
I think one of the things that my wife always says about me is that I've always got a very positive mindset, and people need to learn very quickly that. And one of the best pieces of advice I got a number of years ago from a prominent business leader was fail fast, because you learn from that failure. You learn what doesn't work before you learn what does. So that's probably one of the biggest pieces of advice. And one of my the great quotes, and I can't remember who quoted it now, was that failure is not the opposite of success. Failure is part of success.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, no, that's a great attitude. Brilliant. So if you started your business again, what would you do differently?
At the moment, I don't think I would do anything differently, to be honest. I think our why, our core principles of what we want to achieve. Again, I'll repeat it, but the carbon environmental footprint reducing solutions that are sustainable. Ours are non-forest, deforestation related and non-fossil fuel related to the big topics. So I think the foundations of what we stand for and how we want to achieve it, and to be successful and for the benefit of the many, collaboration's the name of the game. So you need to speak to other people who maybe don't do what you do, but they do the aspects of what you do better than you do. You need to collaborate with them to make sure, and always validate. I'm a great believer in not only doing what you think is right, but validating it, and whether that be academically or whatever. We've got various academic partners within. And just one example of that, Samir Fawzi at Queen's University Belfast, one of our output products is hydrogen. I wanted to take that at the point of pyrolysis, which raised an eyebrow from him. And he said, I'll come back to that at the end of our discussion. And he said, why would you like to take hydrogen at the point of pyrolysis? I'm not a chemist, so because I know we can. And he said, but that's highly volatile, dangerous, and there's an easier way to do it. So back to the point of not only doing what you think is right, but validating it. So we're now doing it in a different manner. We'll do it through electrolysis, which is safer, and it actually gives us a better output product. So
yes,
yeah, so that'd be the biggest bit of advice. Speak to the experts in the specific fields, get them on board as collaborators, and ensure that just because you think you're doing the right thing, actually validate you are.
yes. No, validating with data, it allows you to make objective decisions rather than just gut feeling and see what happens. And also you mentioned about collaboration. Yeah, in today's world, you don't achieve anything on your own. So yeah, brilliant, great. So finally, what advice would you give to your 18-year-old self?
Advice to my 18-year-old self: no matter what's thrown at you, stick to your core principles. You can change certain aspects of the outputs you may want to do. You may have it in your mind, and an 18-year-old self compared to a 53-year-old self would be a lot more pig-headed and blinkered in what I wanted to achieve, and I wouldn't want to change it. Whereas now, certainly, if I told my 18-year-old self to be more prepared to listen to outside input, may have got somewhere quicker.
Brilliant share. And talking about principles, sticking to your principles rather than whims and fancies, there is a great book by Stephen Covey, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, which is a principle-based, brilliant book. So you've read it, yes, I guess.
Yeah, I've read quite a lot of these books.
Yeah.
Partly during COVID, and we touched on it early doors, but during the COVID scenario, I actually lost 2 businesses due to COVID, but not just due to the legislation around COVID, because it was environmentally friendly cleaning products that weren't chemical or bleach based. I actually had very bad COVID in November 2020, which had me hospitalised a couple of times, and then nearly killed me. And then I went one better in the 19th of June 2020, where I suffered an out-of-hospital cardiac arrest. And thanks purely to the fast actions of my wife, who brought me back from being clinically dead, and then the excellent work of the NHS and the different staff, I've now got a bit of an Iron Man device in my chest where it keeps me alive. And if I do decide to go to the dark side again, it defibs me and brings me back.
Wow, that's amazing. Great story. Incredible. Yeah. Wow. So, well, thanks for. Is there a book you would recommend to people watching this recording?
The last Stephen Schwartzer book, I've got it through in the bookshelf, but one of the downsides to losing oxygen for a while, my memory sometimes doesn't quite come back. The Stephen Schwartzer book, and I've forgotten the name of it off the top of my head, I'd highly recommend that. Okay,
we'll Google it and then we'll put it on the tag on the video.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, Keith, well, do you want to share any news or offers or events coming up that you would like to share with the audience?
Every day is a major event at the moment in a startup renewable energy business. So we've got a few things ongoing. We have created a biomass pellet. We have created biochar with the help of Edinburgh University for the first time, the UK Biochar Research Centre. That we've got a lot of things ongoing on the back of those, trademark coming out. So there's a few things that we'll be making announcements on. We're in advanced discussions with a large investment bank in the US about our Pennsylvania facility, and we've got ongoing really exciting things coming about in the UK. So follow us, UGP Energy, on LinkedIn, and there'll be a lot of announcements coming over the next 3 to 6 months.
Brilliant. Well, let's stay tuned in. And thank you very much, Keith, for it's been a real pleasure to have you join us today at Business Spotlight, and for sharing your experience and wisdom with us today. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Javier.